Eternal nightmares, the bedtime stories that keep vampire hunters awake at night, even when they're supposed to be catching some Z's. You're drifting off into dreamland, ready to cuddle up with your favorite teddy bear, or silver steak, whichever you prefer. When suddenly, you're plunged into a horror movie marathon featuring fangs, blood, and a whole lot of screaming. Yep, that's the reality. Or should I say, the surreality of life as a vampire hunter. I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill bad dreams where you show up to class naked or find yourself being chased by a giant talking tomato, although those are pretty terrifying in their own right. No, these nightmares are next-level spooky, like the kind where you're trapped in a coffin with nothing but a hungry vampire for company, or you're running through a foggy graveyard while a horde of undead minions nips at your heels. And here's the kicker. These nightmares aren't just figments of your imagination. They're real, tangible reminders of the horrors that lurk in the darkness. Every scream, every drop of blood, every desperate plea for mercy echoes in your mind, driving home the chilling reality of what it means to be a vampire hunter. But fear not, brave souls, for there's a silver lining, pun totally intended, to this dark and stormy cloud. You see, while these nightmares may haunt your sleep, they also serve as a stark reminder of why you chose this perilous path in the first place. Because as terrifying as they may be, they're nothing compared to the horrors that await if you don't stand up and fight against the forces of darkness. The unholy temptation of vampire hunting. It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Only the rock is a charming, centuries-old bloodsucker, and the hard place is, well, a really hard place to escape from. Let's face it, folks, vampires have got some serious game when it comes to seduction. With their smoldering gazes, silky smooth voices, and killer fashion sense, cape optional, they're like the James Bonds of the undead world, luring unsuspecting mortals into their clutches faster than you can say, "Holy garlic breath." But here's where things get dicey for every mortal who falls under the spell of a vampire's charms. There's a vampire hunter who's sworn to resist them. And let me tell you, it's not easy. I mean, who wouldn't want to live forever? With superhuman strength, speed, and the ability to compel anyone and everyone to do their bidding. It's like winning the lottery, only instead of cashing in your ticket, you cash in your humanity. Fun times. But here's the rub for every vampire who's living the high life, literally. There's a human who's paying the price, and that's where we come in. As vampire hunters, it's our job to resist the siren song of the undead, to stand firm in the face of temptation, and to protect humanity from the dark forces that threaten to consume us. The thrill of the chase. There's nothing quite like it, especially when you're hot on the trail of a bloodthirsty vampire with a penchant for mischief and mayhem. But let's not sugarcoat it. Folks, hunting vampires is no walk in the park. In fact, it's more like a marathon through a minefield, with danger lurking around every corner and a not-so-friendly neighborhood bloodsucker hot on your heels. You're creeping through the shadows of an ancient crypt, your heart pounding like a jackhammer as you search for signs of your elusive prey. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the curtains sends a shiver down your spine, reminding you that you're not alone in the darkness, and that your quarry could be lurking just out of sight, waiting to sink their fangs into your unsuspecting neck. But here's the thing, as terrifying as it may be. There's a certain exhilaration that comes from facing your fears head-on, from staring down the darkness and saying, "Not today, Dracula." Because let's face it, folks, vampires may be immortal, but they're not invincible, and neither are we. So lace up your boots, sharpen your stakes, and get ready for the hunt of a lifetime. Because the night is dark and full of terrors, but so are we, the curse of immortality. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, whether you want it to or not. Imagine, if you will, a life without end, a never-ending parade of days and nights stretching out before you like an endless highway with no exit ramps in sight. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Wrong. Sure, vampires may have all the time in the world to perfect their brooding stares and practice their menacing laughs, but let's not forget the flip side of the coin: eternal torment. You see, immortality isn't all it's cracked up to be. Just ask any vampire who's spent the past few centuries trapped in a never-ending cycle of bloodlust and boredom. Think about it. While the rest of us mortals are busy living our lives, making memories, and binge-watching our favorite Netflix shows, vampires are stuck in a perpetual state of undeath, unable to enjoy the simple pleasures that make life worth living. No sunsets, no picnics in the park, no garlic bread. It's enough to make even the most hardened bloodsucker shed a tear, or a drop of blood depending on their emotional state. But here's where things get really dark for every vampire who's resigned themselves to their fate. There's a vampire hunter who's sworn to end their suffering. And let me tell you, it's a grim business. Because while immortality may seem like a blessing, it's really just a curse in disguise, a curse that only we can lift, one stake through the heart at a time. Sacrifice and solitude. The bread and butter of the vampire hunting lifestyle. You see, folks, being a vampire hunter isn't all stakeouts and blood feasts. In fact, it's more like a one-way ticket to Lonelyville, population U. While your friends are out partying and posting selfies on Instagram, you're busy sharpening your stakes and stocking up on holy water, preparing for yet another night of battling the forces of dark. But here's the thing, while the road may be long and lonely, it's also paved with purpose, a purpose that's bigger than ourselves. Because let's face it, folks, when you're staring down the barrel of a vampire's fangs, there's no room for doubt or hesitation, only determination. And while your friends may not understand why you choose to spend your nights hunting monsters instead of hitting the club scene, they'll thank you when they're not on the menu for the local bloodsucker buffet. So go ahead, embrace the solitude, wear your stake scars like badges of honor, and remember, while the night may be dark and full of terrors, you're never truly alone when you're fighting on the side of the light. Bloodlust and betrayal, the not-so-friendly neighbors of the vampire hunting community. You see, folks, when you're in the business of hunting blood-sucking fiends, you learn pretty quickly that not everyone has your back. And that includes some of your so-called friends. You're out on a hunt with your fellow vampire hunters, laughing and joking as you track down your elusive prey. But as the night wears on and the tension mounts, you start to realize that not everyone is as trustworthy as they seem. Maybe it's the way they eye the nearest jugular vein, or the glint of greed in their eyes as they stake their claim on the spoils of victory. Whatever it is, you know one thing for sure: when push comes to shove, they'll throw you under the vampire bus faster than you can say, holy water. But here's the kicker: while betrayal may sting like a silver bullet to the heart, it's also a harsh reminder of the harsh realities of the vampire hunting game. Because let's face it, folks, when you're battling the forces of darkness, trust is a rare and precious commodity, one that can mean the difference between life and death. So next time you're out on a hunt with your fellow vampire hunters, keep one eye on the bloodsuckers and the other on your so-called friends. Because when it comes to bloodlust and betrayal, you never know who's got your back and who's just biding their time until they can sink their fangs into it. The endless battle against the forces of darkness, it's like a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. Only instead of cute little rodents popping up, it's bloodthirsty vampires with a serious case of the munchies. You see, folks, when you're a vampire hunter, there's no such thing as a day off. No vacations, no sick days, and definitely no retirement plan. You've just finished off the latest batch of bloodsuckers terrorizing your town, dusting off your hands and congratulating yourself on a job well done. But before you can even catch your breath, another wave of vampires emerges from the shadows, hungry for revenge and ready to sink their fangs into the nearest jugular vein. But here's the thing: while the battle may be endless, so too is our determination to fight on. Because let's face it, folks, when you're staring down the jaws of a vampire, there's no room for fear or hesitation, only steel nerves and a steady hand. And while the road may be long and fraught with peril, we'll keep on fighting until every last bloodsucker is nothing but a bad memory. So go ahead, sharpen your stakes, strap on your garlic necklace, and get ready for the fight of your life. Because when it comes to the endless battle against the forces of darkness, there's no such thing as giving up. The ultimate sacrifice. It's like the grand finale of the vampire hunting show, where the stakes are high and the odds are stacked against you. You see, folks, when you're in the business of hunting blood-sucking fiends, you learn pretty quickly that death is always lurking just around the corner, ready to sink its teeth into anyone foolish enough to let their guard down. You're out on a hunt with your fellow vampire hunters, battling tooth and nail against the forces of darkness. But as the night wears on and the body count rises, you start to realize that not everyone is going to make it out alive, and that includes you. Maybe it's the way your heart pounds in your chest as you face down a horde of bloodthirsty vampires, or the chill that runs down your spine as you stare into the abyss of eternity. Whatever it is, you know one thing for sure: when the final showdown comes, you'll be ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. But here's the thing: while death may be waiting for us all in the end, it's also a reminder of the preciousness of life and the courage it takes to face it head-on. Because let's face it, folks, when you're staring down the jaws of a vampire, there's no room for fear or hesitation, only bravery and a willingness to lay down your life for the greater good. So next time you're out on a hunt with your fellow vampire hunters, remember the ultimate sacrifice is not just about dying for a cause, it's about living for one too. And as long as there are vampires lurking in the shadows, we'll keep on fighting, no matter the cost. If you know anything else, I'm waiting for you in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.